Kenny's name, and that's the bottom 300. We always do it every year, the DA.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, here's
Pam is on the phone.
Hey Pam.
Video.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, dear. How are you?
Not too bad.
Awesome.
1, 2,
It should be 3, Scott. You see 3?
yeah, 3 got shortened. Fits on one page, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, one is the middle school.
it's different. It's
Right.
one's in middle school.
Right.
And so there's 3, which means you've got the other originals.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you. I was just signing. I'll give it to you then. And Scott, I just want to tell you you're on punishment just for the good of the order. Because when she came to the mic to talk yesterday, you cannot look over at me like that. I'm gonna have them change my seat from now on.
No, because
Who was it that you looked at me at?
I knew you were going to send me a text.
I didn't, because we're trying not to do that. So I refrained, but when
Email me next time.
what is her name?
No, because we're bargaining.
All right, let's get focused. Okay.
So the one question that I have as far as the middle school one,
Yeah.
it doesn't go into things like student contact time increased as it's kind of listed in.
The other ones?
Yeah, this one's saying student contact time will increase by 1.25 hours.
Right.
Now, the last time we talked on the other ones, it was an increase of 15 minutes.
Right, but here on D, it says teachers will be compensated at their hourly rate for the additional time beyond the contracted day. So for them, it's my understanding, if they do anything additionally, that's how they're doing it. They didn't extend normally the day because they're on extended day and like a secondary.
So here's the issue. This is like the Stu Greenberg fix, right? So what it does is it increases student contact time an hour and a quarter, which would be an additional 60 minutes plus the 75 minutes plus the 300 minutes that's already supposed to be there. So by adding that 75 minutes, but not paying them the additional time that they're only 15 minutes more, they're losing out on planning time and other things if we increase it an hour and 25 as this one reads. Because it was the last one that was something about.
You're looking at the Griffin one?
I'm looking at Riley and Bond. That both say student contact time will increase by 1.25 hours. And so.
Yeah.
So
We'll call Giselle. We'll call Giselle and we can have a conversation.
Sounds good.
Okay, we can call her later. We can go ahead and do it so we can. I'll get clarity on that. Okay, sure, no problem.
And then here are, I've already noticed a thing that I need to change because it was yesterday to today, so I'll go over those changes. So.
This is the whole MOU? Okay.
Yes. At the top of the document where August 10th is, it should be 11th, and that's just because the date changed. I got the 11th at the top, and I think at the very end on page 5, it says 10th, which needs to be a change to 11th. Okay. The MOU, you'll see in terms of the quantity and of the things that we have been discussing.
Let me log in 1 second. And
Sure.
take notes, 'cause I didn't take notes last year.
Let me get mine. I guess I can turn it. I have my district. You need her number? Yeah. Just a second, Scott. My son is Let me see if I can. I don't know if you hope I got glasses out.
I'll take them.
Okay, go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry. We were trying to find some glasses.
So the issues you raised for MOU for middle schools doesn't define the time enough.
The issue for the middle school one is the question was, is student contact time being increased because it doesn't necessarily speak to that part?
Okay.
And it doesn't give the start and stop time changing. So when it comes to the middle school, it's just a different document than the elementary. So for the elementary school, the discussion we had on the other MOUs that were not L300, but were DA, was that they were going to have an extended day. It was going to increase 15 minutes, which meant increasing from 300 student contact to 315. However, the L300s are saying that we're going to extend the day that 15 minutes, but we're increasing student contact time by an hour and a quarter. And so
We'll get that clarity today.
thank you.
Then give you a call back.
So you would think there'd be another hour.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Is that how it worked last year? Did we give another hour last year? Is this the same as last year?
This is the exact same as last year.
It's not, we didn't do it last year, but based off of the student contact time and what we're trying to do in terms of making sure that people have the planning, paid planning and other things we want to address.
You better have coffee that was made for you.
Oh, I'm gonna get some.
All right. All of it.
I haven't had 2 cups yet.
Nate will fire me.
I'm listening. Who made it?
Nate,
Oh, definitely get some.
he'll fire me. Our runner has power.
I mean, first of all,
We need
Yeah, splendid.
hamburger curd. Okay, I'm listening. We can go ahead and get started.
Okay, so, all right, I'm caught up on that now. I'll say, Scott. David. All right. So you're countering our 8-9 proposal.
With monies included, it's all one MOU.
Right.
So, in terms of changes and things, we color coded it so that it was hopefully easy to follow as far as the changes. Everything is consistent with your proposal up to number 7, and then on number 8, just because of, as we know where things are, the virtual faculty meeting is something that folks would still like to implement or have as an option.
Okay. Do we know on the ground right now, are principals doing this?
They're having meetings.
Faculty meetings.
I know that some of them are.
Some.
So, and for the most part, like some of them did, they were able to change when they saw the numbers. So I think people are taking into consideration.
So if we say may, is it clear that the principal may, but you can't grieve it if they don't?
Yeah.
Right. The idea is that they may have the remote option, and the issue is
Then the next sentence says teacher will provide the ability to participate remotely on campus. Is that if they have a virtual one? I mean,
if there's a virtual one, the expectation is you're on campus. I mean,
Yes.
you're supposed to be on campus.
Right. But any meeting greater than 2 people.
I was gonna say, why is it just
See,
two?
then the last sentence, all meetings will have more than 2.
Yeah,
All faculty meetings. We're in a faculty meeting section, not general meetings. We had that discussion last meeting because there's going to be IEP meetings. There's going to be all kinds of quote meetings. So if we need a meeting section under faculty, what do you want? Do you want the ability?
I think that's what I'm asking
to
too.
have it virtual?
Yeah.
If you want to take from the campus part, and
I'm okay from the campus. I'm just saying, does this sentence, teachers will be provided the ability to participate remotely on campus if it is a virtual meeting, when a virtual meeting is held?
the concern that we've heard from the way that we started last year and everything, that there was the virtual option, but there were administrators that, based off of either the health needs or concerns of the teacher and how things were, food, people close, couldn't social distance, whatever, they wanted that virtual option so that they could still participate, but not necessarily be there. That's the part about the faculty meeting. Plus, I think if you look at what we're trying to mitigate in terms of super spreader events, people being close to each other and not having necessarily the understanding of where a mask will be in the district, is making sure that we're implementing all the mitigating strategies. So if it needs to speak to, to those things, then we can be more specific about it. But that's the.
I think as I understood, if we're in a room like this and 6 feet is not possible, employees will be required to wear a mask.
Correct.
Even if they're vaccinated.
Correct.
And within 6 feet for 15 minutes,
right,
those people could still be quarantined. And our goal is not to have to quarantine our staff, because we don't have anyone to replace them with. You quarantine if they're symptomatic. So if somebody's there symptomatic,
Right.
and then if someone is around somebody that is positive, that isn't vaccinated, then that person does then still need to leave campus, at least for the day, to go get tested. So
see, that's the
disruptions.
difference. That's the difference in 3 districts I have. They have deemed teachers as essential employees.
We are too.
And so it's like a nurse. If you're around someone for 15 minutes at 6 feet and asymptomatic, you don't go home. But here, if you're not vaccinated too, because you're an essential worker, but here, I think they're saying go home.
No.
If you're not vaccinated.
Oh, if you're not vaccinated and
you can finish the day out, but then you still need to go get tested the next day.
And if you're negative, then you come back to work.
So the issue then becomes continuity on the campuses.
Okay, so for the second sentence, is this second sentence, if there is a virtual meeting, teachers will be provided? Do you say mean? Because it's not shall, it's may, and when they have one, they would participate remotely on campus.
So they can stay in their classroom and just log into a Zoom, is what you're saying, like they've done in the past.
Yeah.
My concern for both of you all is that every meeting's gonna have more than 2 people unless you're having.
Not the meeting, forget the last sentence. We'll deal with the last sentence last.
Okay.
But let's make the second sentence.
Well, because it's virtual, they'll be able to participate.
So don't you think we need to say teachers will be provided the ability to participate remotely on campus when just my suggestion, faculty meeting is held virtually?
Right.
Is that what you're getting at, Scott?
Yes.
And they may all. And I know in one school it will be.
Well, and that's the issue of where.
I know there's no parity. I completely get you're gonna have one.
I understand, but that's why we want to make sure that if
Yes.
an employee is at a site where that's not, that the option upon employee request, there will be a point in time where, I mean, who knows how many people will request it? It's just like the opt-out form. Who knows how many people are going to opt out? But if you're at a site and you have
See, I don't think we're giving, like last year, employees options to not attend a faculty meeting unless, I don't know if we say a special case that goes to HR that says, but I don't know, if you have a teacher in a classroom, they can't, and they're teaching 20, 25 kids, they can't say, I'm so fragile, I can't go to a faculty meeting that's spaced out 6 feet.
Right,
Last year we could,
right.
Jimmy, because they could be with 10 people. And so it's a different concept.
Because this concept is that why enter into more situations that would increase the possibility, number one. The second one is that, regardless of how many students are in the classroom, because that is still a concern of individuals, regardless of whether it was half the students or all the students. I mean, the concerns are still the concerns that would lead to something where someone would say, you know what? I'd like to have the virtual option, because it's not always somebody who has underlying conditions. It could be somebody who is,
Now, people want this
doesn't
forever. People want this forever. They think faculty meetings are not needed. They're wasted time. I've heard it a million times. You could send an email. This is like Principal loves to just hear himself talk. I hear this every day, everywhere. That 1 out of 10 faculty meetings, you get meaningful information. And the principals, on the other hand, they feel it's critical. They're giving great information. So it's a flip side of the coin. And I don't know who's right, because I don't attend faculty meetings, but I do know everyone.
I don't want it to be used as a.
We can't use it as an option. I don't think. Now we can ask. You're asked.
I think that's all that.
We will ask if you're. We will just ask.
I have no problem with that.
Well, and I understand. So the intent is there. How you counter is your choice.
Right.
But
I don't want it to be something where a teacher doesn't want to come today, and it ends up being abused. That it's not. And that could be both sides. Like Leonard said, there's always 2 sides to every story. Principals just want to hear themselves talk. They want everybody together. The other side is, I don't want a teacher to say, I'm not coming. I don't feel safe.
Right.
But they're showing up every day to class. They're doing everything else. But when it's the faculty meeting, I just want to make sure. But we can definitely counter with something.
it's not so. Again, this is all about why put ourselves in situations that would have a negative consequence potentially. So it's, I mean,
I understand your
if we want to
intention.
just put all faculty meetings will be virtual until the pandemic ends. Very good. I mean, we can do that as well. I mean, but at the end of the day,
I know they won't.
Yeah.
We've asked that, and they want the autonomy not to do that.
I know they want
they
the
really-
autonomy, but
they
these
really
are the
want to
working
see-
conditions of all of the folks that we represent.
I know, they want
if
to
one
see-
does and one
They
doesn't.
believe there's value in seeing their teachers and the other teachers seeing other teachers. The isolation last year did not work for mainly newer teachers.
Well, understandably so, which is why I think in terms of those issues, there are other ways to address them.
I agree.
Considering that many of our high school teachers will say, I'm not going to do anything about this evaluation, but no one came in my room because it's a good evaluation. And so about people getting out and seeing people, there's things that principals can do to still connect with their faculties.
Okay.
So the language is still the same on 11, 9 through 13, even 14. In terms of the COVID harassment, whether mask or not, we understand. The question that I have as far as the harassment part is it still follows whatever discipline, corrective action pieces in the contract, CBA, and those types of issues is grievable, because I don't know what that looks like in terms of what COVID harassment is.
Well, I think it's what the superintendent said, what that parent said.
And there's a rule. There's a Department of Education rule defining COVID harassment. And so if a teacher shames
Mhm.
student for not having a mask on, that would be a problem because
Mhm.
that student gets a Hope Scholarship and we lose that person. If a student shames someone, they need to report it, just like a code of conduct issue,
Mhm.
because that student almost automatically gets the right to leave and get a voucher. It's the same as bullying. It's almost the same as bullying. You just have to allege it. Now the teacher's not, I don't know, it's like when one of your teachers said, can we have all of them sit on this side and then all the unmasked sit on this side? I've been asked that, by the way, in 5 districts.
Mhm.
And it's not an illogical ask, but that's what the governor's trying to avoid, is making a distinction. Like in Lee County, they had 80,000 kids show up. 10% had no mask. And they wanted to make sure those 10% of kids without masks
Mhm.
would feel comfortable, the same as those 90% who had masks. We'll probably have that here. We'll probably have high numbers
Mhm.
with masks.
But if something had to be done, Scott, we would call the CBA, corrective action.
Okay.
But the issue is there's also
It'd
teachers
be
on
pro-
teachers.
It'd be progressive, yeah.
Well, I know. Well,
Employees on employees,
well,
yeah.
listen, there's people that shame people for wearing a mask, just like was mentioned last night, that it's, when it's your job duty as a nurse or whatever. So, I mean, I just want to make sure
Yeah. Okay.
that we're clear when we communicate it back.
It will be progressive, and it'll be counseling. It'll be treat people.
It would be
fairly.
verbal, it would be the counseling, it would follow the corrective action plan that's outlined in the CBA.
All right. Number 15, employees who serve as the COVID-19 czar shall receive a stipend of 10% of the CBA base. That's if an instructional staff employee is taking on additional duties of tracing and tracking what is going on with COVID and still being given their additional duties of dean or whatever it is that they're doing for behavior and stuff, that's an additional duty. And so that is new language in there.
Mm-hmm.
All employees shall be notified when a positive case impacts the work site. This is number 16. So when it's a work site issue and it's something about what's happening at their school, there was issues last year where only individuals that were contact traced or something were communicated, and then something went out to listserv that was parents, but then didn't always get communicated
So
to
if
the
one
staff.
kid at Childs is positive, we're going to notify all employees, or just their kids. So I mean, you have 3,000 kids. If one kid's positive, you're going to
Yeah.
notify the entire staff. Assuming that doesn't make sense.
They're going to be doing that anyway through listserv, right? So it's not like it's an additional thing.
No, but Scott, we do it through listserv. So this is my understanding. There was a case in your child's class, because I see I'm on the listserv for a couple of schools.
Mm-hmm.
That the listserv or the email that goes out is to that group. You're being notified because I don't know if the listserv says you may receive I gotta go back.
Right.
I don't think the entire school is notified for someone in one person's class. I thought it was narrowed down, the focus.
When there's quarantine, when there's a positive,
Right.
and through listserv, it's sent out through
To that person's class or to
the school listserv, so it's communicated. I know, for example, like Childs was the prime example of how all of those things were addressed and handled.
But I don't think, in all fairness, I don't think Joe sent, I'm just trying to think out loud. I don't think this,
We have to find out.
Yeah, I don't think-
We'll find out
Here's
from
the
Alan.
rationale
What is
behind it. The individuals that work at that site, whether or not they were in the classroom and within those confines, because of the conditions that they're working on, especially when there's an opt-out right now, have concerns about a safe working environment. They
Okay.
want to know when something's going on, and what happens is it starts like a wildfire and the telephone begins because
Right.
somebody's notified, and this person tells it,
I get it.
And so
Information
therein
is
lies
key
the
to
issue.
stop all the rumors. The question will be, is the listserv answering number 16. That's what we have to find out, right?
Right.
Yeah,
If it does, it
Exactly.
does.
because are the teachers, are the staff on the listserv? Yeah, okay,
Right.
I got it.
Right.
Will you accept that if the listserv does, that the Leon County will use a listserv which, and define what listserv does?
Yes,
I believe I heard Alan say that, but I didn't ask the actual contents of would it go to that classroom?
Okay.
Because I don't know that a ninth grade teacher, I don't know. I don't know if it's a need to know issue for the teacher or for the entire school building.
Okay.
All right. Utilize.
in the learning part, I think we were in agreement with 4 and 5 already. Number 8 speaks to when employees are directed to substitute for another employee or accept students from a split class, they shall receive the substitute pay proportionally to the time served. So if there are funds that are set aside for the workload of the individual that would be out, and knowing that we do not have enough subs to begin with, there's going to be a lot of this going on, which is going to be an additional burden to the employees. And as it already is done, not that we negotiate for them, but we do know that when another bargaining unit takes on the substituting, they get increased pay when they do so. So if you want to kind of analogy it that way, then
so they would get the hourly rate for as long as they have the split class, right? Is that the proposal?
yes.
Hourly rate of the
Well,
sub.
Mhm. Now, understandably so that when an employee is substituting for another teacher's class, they're full-time in that class. That's the full portion of the hour. When it's a split class,
You're talking about of the sub pay, because sub pay is different.
that's what I'm
from-
saying.
Okay,
That's what
so
I'm
sub
saying,
pay is different
sub
from
pay.
their hourly rate. Okay.
Correct. So of the sub pay. So then when it comes to a split class, that's the issue that I think is always the elephant in the room, because when those students are split, then it becomes the hourly rate of the substitutes only a certain amount. And so how does that get calculated? So that's why we said proportionally. Okay, paid leave speaks to already kind of some language that was accepted in another district. And part of what we're trying to do is to say that folks will get their leave, and if they can, as number 3 says, an employee chooses to present documentation demonstrating that an employee meets one of the requirements in paragraph 3B, will not be required to quarantine. No, that's not the one I was trying to go to. It was the next one down, sorry, D, where it speaks to employee who has employees that, and it's not that it should be that were fully vaccinated when they tested positive and choose to present documentation demonstrating that they were fully vaccinated against COVID-19, or employee who chooses to submit documentation from a physician demonstrating that they're unable to get a vaccine due to an underlying medical condition, that those individuals would receive paid reimbursed for their leave when they have to quarantine.
Right. Employees may request reimbursement for leave. Okay, this is Bay County.
This is Bay.
This is
It's
Bay.
Pasco.
And then in the
Bay, it's Bay.
Hang on. Employees who that they were. What's the fix on employees who were fully vaccinated?
there you go.
Who
Take the
were
definitely.
fully vaccinated when they tested positive and chose to present documentation to demonstrate why they're fully vaccinated COVID. or employees who chose to spend time with these benefits and demonstrating are unable to get that. Okay, so they would be entitled to the time. The time, is there a cap though? You know, is there a cap?
There's not a cap on this.
Okay, so that's one issue. Well,
If I can just step in for a moment, under the new DOE guidelines, isn't there kind of like a cap on, I guess they're calling it stay at home. I think we're talking about quarantine, same thing here, that how many days is required.
yeah, but we're getting at an issue. If it was twice, would we do 20 days, hypothetically? Or 3 times 30 days? Now that's not gonna happen, but you have to plan for the unusual. And under this, you're testing positive, so you're not gonna have any shenanigans. We did have in many districts under the first Coronavirus Act, many people wanting 10 days and came up with clever reasons to get paid 10 days off. That's not gonna happen, I don't think, under this language was drafted to mitigate that and also encourage, I think, vaccinated folks, because it's saying for vaccinated folks, but I didn't read term 1 yet. What is term 1? Not required to quarantine under the following condition.
The second sentence in 1 is an additional one based off of the concerns that people had last night. If there's not going to be a, and I understand that Dr. Cox said that people could ding a positive as a vaccinated person who goes and gets tested. But if they're dinged positive, are they positive? And that's the concern of putting a positive teacher back in a classroom with students who may or may not be vaccinated because that's their choice, or they can't because
yeah, I
there's no
just
vaccine.
think number 2 will change tomorrow, maybe, because it's in accordance with CDC guidelines. I don't know that we're following. We're not following CDC guidelines.
We're not, because right now it's 9 months,
Right.
and we want to shorten it down to 3.
Okay, so let me read. However, individuals who are tested positive.
That's that whole golden ticket.
Okay, so C deals with when you're quarantined. D deals with who gets paid.
Right.
Okay, I'm just trying to. I have so many of these. I'm trying to just follow them. Editing one last night. It was like 15 pages. And
Let me just ask for grins and giggles, Scott. I totally understand what this is about promoting, like when and I did this a while, was about promoting people, encouraging people. How do you think your unit is going to deal with the fact that some people don't want to reveal that and don't want to be tested? I'm just saying, like, do you feel like this is going to be divisive? Or are you all at the
If
point
you
where
want to put in there that vaccinated and unvaccinated can go ahead and have this,
No, what I'm just saying.
then that's
No, I'm just saying, are you,
Good.
okay, I'm just asking, because I know that some people that
we basically, this is basically saying, if you want to be reimbursed, it's on you to show.
right.
You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, they
You
can.
have the freedom to do whatever you
Right,
want.
I'm just saying.
They're just at home with sick leave now. As I understand it, the health department should know, but now, we have some folks who were vaccinated in Georgia, which our health department does not know, as I understand it.
Yeah.
Because I have Nassau County is a block away from Georgia, and in the very beginning,
We just took a car on the way over here with Walmart.
it was very easy to go to Georgia in February, just boom. And even though they paid, some did not. And now we have no idea.
Right. And some of our teachers older than 50, I know, went to Thomas to get vaccinated. So, yeah.
That's a tracing issue, not we still have proof
the card that you can download.
Right.
Okay,
But
I was just
again-
wondering, I agree with you, I'm just wondering, like Leonard said, that's the one thing I've taken from him this year, I learned something huge every year from Leonard, huge.
Just one thing.
Well, it's huge, I learn all the time.
It's only three.
This one's huge, and that is you cannot defend religion and guns, like people's opinions. And so my thing is, I just, people are so adamant about not, like, they're either on the side of, I'm gonna do it, or they're like on the side, I'm not doing it. You're not gonna tell me I have to do it, you're not gonna do it. So all I'm saying is, I could just see some people saying, why wouldn't you advocate for me?
We are advocating for them because what we're trying to do is make sure that all the mitigating strategies are implemented to make sure that we keep people in.
Yeah, I'm just saying in terms of
continuity
reimbursement.
of
Okay,
instruction. Individuals have every single right thereafter to go ahead and wear a mask, to do all things. These are all choices.
I
And the
agree,
thing
I
is-
just wanted to know what your take was on that, okay.
And at the end of the
Okay.
day, we're not telling anyone what to do. What we were told is there's no COVID leave. There's no COVID leave. On more than one occasion, if we can't get COVID leave because it's going to be too much COVID leave for folks, then we have to at least do whatever we can to get some COVID leave.
Right,
And that's what we're trying to do because we're keep being told that
I'm clear, and I
I
get it, I just was wondering your thinking on. So
we
you shared.
would love for everybody.
Right.
But we don't think that the board will
Right.
approve the financial
Mhm.
commitment.
I think
I'm good
I
now, I just
understand.
wanted to hear your take on it.
I mean, we did have everybody covered.
I know. I know.
We have to keep countering until we can get to that point where we get something for our folks.
I think I was more or less thinking about the people who may not want to share whether or not they're vaccinated for political reasons, or they can't, they feel like they should.
Again, if you
And they
guys would
don't
like
get
to
paid.
accept the first offer, we're more
Right,
than
that's what I'm
welcome
saying,
to
right.
do that.
Okay.
So basically, under the current one, if they don't share it, they just use their section.
Mhm.
Correct.
That's fine.
I mean, but like I
fine for
said,
me. Well, we can explain that.
and we are, if the board is, and the superintendent and the board decide to include everybody
You'll take
as we originally had requested, we will take that. I mean, we'll take a counter.
Mhm.
Because our goal has always been to cover everybody, but
I know we're trying to get you where we can somehow get something.
Mhm.
and if that means that the individuals that do not want to disclose or do not want to get the vaccine, then they need to contact the school board about their concerns, as far as I'm concerned, because we've already tried to get something across the table for everybody.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. The COVID sick leave bank is based off of something that the Pinellas did, but the intent of this is to take care of individuals who may have children or family members that are impacted by COVID-19 as a caregiver. So we've got, there's always that concern of bringing something home and the impact of having to take care of someone, be home with a child, those types of things. So the intent of this is to create a bank of individuals that would like to participate, to donate a day, and create a bank that would no more than 20 days could be used of by an individual to go ahead and take care of their families, their children, or spouse who may be negatively impacted by COVID. It does, again, because we don't know whether or not, we would love to include everybody, but it does, again, have the language of, if you choose to disclose, if you choose to get vaccinated, we would love to include everybody in it. But again, we haven't been able to get anywhere with the whole group. And so we're trying to get something for our folks. We will accept all counters if you guys do want to include everybody. and do it district-wide or whatever.
All right, let me read real quick. Who did you say this did this? Pinellas?
This was Pinellas, built off of Pinellas's language of a sick leave bank modification.
Okay.
And my laptop died because I don't have a power cord, so
What kind is it?
it's one of those things. But we're still on the phone, so
Okay.
so jump in whenever you want.
I don't think I have Dell. I have
It's okay.
to use my HP.
I figured everybody's taking a moment to read and review.
Yeah. What says 4? I think we're missing a 5, but what does 4 mean? If participation fall below 25% of the days contributed by participating employees, participants shall be notified how they contribute an additional day.
Meaning that as the pot becomes low and the interest to still participate in it and the necessity to have days to draw from, that it would just be notified to let people know, because if the days get all used up, then someone may find themselves in a situation where they want to participate because they encounter something, but
So
they can't.
they voluntarily, just like a regular sick leave bank, they voluntarily give a day.
Yes.
If say 25% of your group gives a day, you have 500 plus days.
Correct.
So when that falls below what?
25% of that 500
Of the original.
of the original.
Okay. So what's the end? The discretionary pool of 100 days per year exists to be used at the discretion of the district for applicants who have meritorious claims but do not meet all the requirements. Is this our 100 days or the 100 days?
No, this is district 100 days.
District's 100 days. All right.
So in the same way that Dina's and Wallace deal with extenuating circumstances, things that may not particularly match exactly this, but they meet the majority of the issues, that there would be just those days to help kind of those individuals out that had a caregiving position for someone that was impacted by COVID.
And I would certainly put forth that the district's 100-day pool can be pulled from the ESSER 3 funds when they become available. When
We like that idea. I just can't get anyone to give me a green light to have confidence that we can spend it how we thought it was intended. I mean, this sounds like this was intended by the American Rescue Plan, but we're getting zero confidence or no guidance, zero guidance from what I believe the Department of Education is going to attempt to control the funds. And
absolutely.
So I understand that looks like a no cost, but originally, like our clients are like they did last year, they're going to spend their fund balance and then hope for some guidance that's not coming.
I think you hit the nail right on the head, sir. They want to be able to give guidance and tell you exactly how you're going to spend the money. And I think that's the problem, that they're not allowed to, because the guidance is coming from the federal Department of Education. But absent those way above us actually turn down the money and give it back to the federal government, I'm confident that this money is coming. It's just, a matter of when. And when, again, those above us stop playing and do what's right.
Right. I agree it's coming, and I agree we all need relief for all of these fees, because it all puts pressure on trying to find subs, trying to overwork folks, and dealing with real life COVID-related problems, which I thought we were trying to be rescued from with a plan. But it's amazing how that hasn't come to life. But we'll wait. I am optimistic. I'm always optimistic that we'll find a way. Reasonable people will prevail.
Right. I just, I would hope that the district, since, the money has come in, ESSER 1, ESSER 2, we're now on to ESSER 3. And yes, there's it's being slow walked for whatever reason, but the district will get that money. They will be reimbursed for whatever they put in place now. And this sick bank provision is trying to, keep it all contained within the COVID fund so that the district doesn't have to spend any of its own money. I understand they're looking to fill their fund balance and grow their fund balance, but the money's there to spend. They have to be able to let some of it go so that you all, administrators and staff across the board, can do what you need to do to make it safe. You folks are the ones that are working in those buildings. And I would hope that the district would allow you some flexibility to do what you all need to do to be safe.
Yeah, it is our priority. Another priority is we can't have subs for 20 days at a time.
Yeah.
And we don't, by the way, we don't have subs for 20 days. And so the continuity education, Leon took a big hit. versus several other districts. I don't know. I don't know why. We obviously tried a brand new method of teaching, where some districts went back to brick and mortar and one virtual teacher. So if you wanted virtual, you were only going to get virtual. That model worked in several places.
Let the record show we requested that model.
I know. I'm saying, and some did well with the hybrid. Some did well with the disease. Some did not, and they're one county away. So it's very. I think the coffee's up. Well, I'm not sure which one's water or coffee. I think that's coffee up there.
Yeah, the coffee is up there.
So we will make the ask. Nothing's unreasonable. We're not as big as Pinellas. However, some of my big districts have good ideas, and so we take all ideas from everywhere. Some of my small districts have great ideas. And some folks are having tremendous trouble today, and some are having no trouble. I can't I've given up trying to reason why. But as you heard last night board meeting, there's a big divide in our town. No one's right. That's all I can say is, or everyone's wrong. I don't know. I think everyone's correct in their firm beliefs, and we now have to respect a divided community. And you could tell our board is not perfectly 5-0. We will bring this to the board. I think it could be an easier sell than all the original hazard pays and all that other stuff. So we will respectfully bring it to the board and try to find a solution on first the regular paid leave as you have set forth, and then we'll have to batter around this sick leave bank concept. And with the understanding, yes, it's all volunteered by the LCTA. The problem is there's going to be a lot less teachers available because of family members and everything else. Now, will those teachers anyway have to leave because they have a kid at home? Maybe yes, right?
Right.
So maybe that's an argument. We bring forward that, if you're hypothetically your mom's 85 and has it, and you have to be there, you have to be there. Regardless of whether there's a bank.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of the ESSER funds and where the funds come from, one of the things that I know that has happened since Kim Banks has come on board is she's very creative in the way that she can kind of do some stuff. Mm-hmm. And so whether it's a matter of being reimbursed for technology or something to save money to then invest in a sick leave pool that you don't get reimbursed for or whatever, we're doing a lot of stuff that we're going to get money back for, even if it's not specifically designated as leave, as a categorical. Yeah. So, just like when we did the Chromebooks, that money came back to the district. So it wasn't necessarily straight out of the funds that the district, had. And because this is not an ongoing situation, it's hopefully going to be limited to whatever this COVID experience is, that it's not something that's going to be hopefully a reoccurring cost.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, we'd have to run some numbers on what was it like last year with people going home not for themselves, for others. That probably can be done. I don't know if there's a code on that. The goal is to understand it all. I think I understand it all.
Yeah, you too.
And if there's nothing else, let's, I guess, explain the proposal. Then the only other thing that we have right now is a request for the names of the individuals that will receive the $1,000 through the MOU. So not necessarily, we can cross-reference that to find out who got it from the state, because some of
I'll
our
get
folks
Brett on that.
have been told, well, their counterparts in some pre-K positions or some other areas where they have the same title, but one got paid and one did not this past weekend. They're starting to wonder, the checks started coming in last Friday, I think it was, or Saturday. They're just not sure how the reporting was done. Was it done
Pre-K?
Yeah, there's a pre-K part. There's also
K gets it two different ways. And then BPK gets two pots of money.
And that's, just want to make sure that when we communicate it out, that it's like, no, you haven't been left behind. It's still coming, and here's how your pot's coming.
BBK, if they were in the FEFP, they're okay.
Yeah.
If they're not, they have an early learning coalition type bonus program that I think those guidelines are just coming.
Yeah, and I sat with Floss and I met with.
That's a different list.
Right.
It's going.
So if that different list, whatever that list, and who's getting the $1,000 from the MOU to be sure, then we'll know already who else was submitted in the original information. So as it's being done, if that could just be.
Okay, we'll work on that. I have that listed. Thanks to Dave.